Officiating and refereeing in the NBA has always been such a controversial topic for obvious reasons. I mean, basketball is a very hard game to ref. It's very fast-paced, and there's a lot of judgment calls involved, which with other sports is not exactly the same. And obviously, us as fans in the NBA community, we're always on refs all the time for making bad calls, looking like they're biased in certain situations towards one of the teams, and overall, just such a controversial topic, and it's definitely very tough for refs to get calls right all the time, and that's why the NBA brought in the Coaches Challenge in the bubble in the 2020 season. But pretty much ever since they brought that in, this rule has done little to nothing to help solve this problem, and what the NBA has done and how they've set up this rule, it really just hasn't had any impact, and it makes me really mad that they're doing this the wrong way because the answer is so obvious. So in today's just quick little video, I wanted to go through what the NBA needs to do and what coaches actually need to do as well to start actually using this challenge in the right way and actually make it have an impact towards solving the problem here. So let's get into the analysis and what both the NBA and coaches need to do to start using this challenge the right way. What makes absolutely no sense about the Coaches Challenge in the NBA is not the fact that the coaches only get one challenge per game, but the fact that even if they win that one challenge, they don't get it back. And for me, that just makes no logical sense at all. Because what we're seeing across the league now is not only are the coaches not able to have that challenge back if they win it, but now because they don't get that challenge back if they win, they are way more hesitant to actually use that challenge in games, which is pretty much eliminating its purpose in a lot of the way. I wasn't able to find any specific data on the 2021 and 22 season and the stats behind this Coaches Challenge, but from what I've seen and watched in NBA games, the majority of the time coaches actually don't even use their challenge in the game literally throughout the whole thing because they're trying to save it too much. They're trying to save it for a big moment in the fourth quarter when they need to use that challenge. And this is where coaches need to become more smart as well, because whether something happens early in the game or late in the game, it's still going to have impact towards the final outcome in the game, if that makes sense, the final score. And while yes, it does make more sense to use a challenge later in the game because the stakes are higher at that time, it's still going to have the same impact towards the score, and especially during a time, maybe a less important time like in the first or second quarter, you might actually have more meaningful calls that need to go a certain way. For example, your star player picks up their third foul, it's a questionable call, maybe an and one where 3 points could be going up on the board for the other team. This is when coaches should be using their challenge instead of trying to save it for late in games. I've seen coaches go as far this year as even with like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, there being a very, very questionable call, and they still don't use the challenge because they're somehow saving it even though there's literally 2 minutes left in the game. So I think it surprises me how much coaches want to save this challenge and use it so late in games when really logically it makes no sense, and they actually should be using it a little bit early on. And even if it is late in the game, just using it at all. You don't want to waste it, which happens so much in the NBA. Now, at the same time, the league needs to step in and solve this problem as well. Like I said, it makes no sense that when you win the challenge, you don't even get it back. And this is just logical common sense here. It really doesn't make any sense, and the only reason I can see why the NBA is having it so that there's one challenge per game and that's it, even if you win it, is because they want to keep the flow of the game going. This has been another talking point where challenges are taking too long. It's disrupting the flow of a fast-paced and entertaining basketball game, but there's really not going to be that many challenges, and the challenges are only one less than 50% of the time as well. So the majority of the time there's still going to be one challenge anyway. But it just makes so much more sense to have the coaches get their challenge back if they're able to win it for many different obvious reasons. And that way you're going to see more calls go the right way and the correct way, and that coaches challenge serving its purpose that it's really supposed to. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up about the NBA Coaches Challenge is how it's very unclear around the rules of when you can actually use this challenge. As a Raptors fan, it's so infuriating the amount of times that Nick Nurse is asking on the sideline, can I challenge a certain play. And I think really the main rule is that you can't challenge something unless there was an actual call on the floor. For example, if there's a no call on a foul or a goaltend or all that kind of stuff, you actually can't challenge that, and I think that needs to be changed as well. I think it's so much easier if you limit all the stuff that you can't challenge and just say that really anything that anything that happens on the basketball floor, any call that can be interpreted by the referees, that should be able to be challenged. Even if it's something where there hasn't been a call on the floor, it just makes so much, again, more logical, common sense that a coach should be able to call a timeout and challenge anything if they think that the call was incorrect. So overall, I know that the NBA had good intent trying to bring this coach's challenge in about 2 years ago, but ever since it's been implemented, it's done absolutely nothing, at least in my opinion, and if anything, it's just making things more confusing and worse. I think if the NBA listened to the changes that I'm suggesting here, of just literally let the coaches get the challenge back if they win it, that way they'll use it more often, there will be more correct calls, and if this happens too, where coaches are able to challenge more type of calls and challenge pretty much any time that they want to, there will be a lot less arguing with the refs, and that was another one of the main purposes of bringing this coaches challenge in, is you don't want to have players and coaches constantly arguing with the ref because they can just use their challenge. And if there's more purpose with that coaches challenge and these two things happen where coaches are able to use it if they win it and they're able to use it almost at any time, this will definitely help reduce things like arguing with the players, arguing with the refs, and just get a lot more calls right and have the game flow the right way in general. So overall, this isn't exactly a very hot topic, but it's something that always catches my attention and absolutely infuriates me with the NBA right now. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of the NBA Coaches Challenge, if you agree with my changes, if you have any other suggestions for the NBA and what they can do to kind of solve the situation, and your overall thoughts on the situation with refs, coaches, players, and what the Coaches Challenge should look like going into next NBA season in 2022 and 2023. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next video.